Picture this for a second. We've got two 30-year-olds. They're both trying to build a stable life, they're both putting away money for 30 solid years, and they're both planning to retire at the exact same time. But here's the catch. One of them forgot to calculate what the government takes on the way out, and the other completely forgot to count what he gave up on the way in.
So which account is actually going to make you more money in the long run? Welcome to Dollar Playbook, everyone. I'm Taylor Reed. In this explainer, we're going to cut through the noise and look closely at the real math behind these retirement accounts in a calm, clear, and straightforward way. Let's dive right in.
All right, part one, two savers, different paths. Let's meet Jake and Marcus. They're both 30 years old, they both make $75,000 a year, live in the same city, sit in the exact same tax bracket, and they share the exact same goal, to retire comfortably and really never have to worry about money again. The only difference between them, the account they choose to use. Let's look at how they start out. Jake enrolls in his company's 401k. He contributes 10% of his salary, which is $7,500 a year. His employer offers a 4% match, which essentially means an extra $3,000 in totally free money goes into his account. And because it's all pre-tax, Uncle Sam hasn't touched a single dime of it yet. Now Marcus, on the other hand, goes a different route. He opens a Roth IRA and maxes it out with $7,500 a year. But there is no employer match here, and he gets absolutely no tax break on the way in. Every single dollar Marcus puts in has already been taxed, meaning his paycheck actually feels a bit lighter right from day one.
Moving on to part two, the illusion of winning, and why an early lead can be pretty deceiving.
Because you see, for the first few years, Jake looks like an absolute financial genius. His coworkers are probably seeing his account balance climbing and asking him for investing tips. Meanwhile, Marcus's Roth IRA doesn't sound quite as exciting when they're chatting at a weekend barbecue. By year 5, Jake's balance is soared to $64,000. Marcus is sitting at a solid but noticeably smaller $46,000. So on paper, Jake is just crushing it, and he's probably not shy about it. But as we know, feelings and math are two very different things.
Here is exactly why Jake is pulling so far ahead right now. His 401k contributions actually lower his taxable income by $7,500 a year. At his specific tax bracket, that saves him about $1,650 in federal taxes every single year. That's real, tangible money back in his pocket today. Plus, more than $12,000 of his total balance came from his employer alone. That is money he never earned, never saved, and never paid a dime of tax on. Jake got free money from his boss, and honestly, on every visible scoreboard, Jake is winning.
Which brings us to part 3, the hidden retirement taxes. Let's take a look at that future tax bill.
Here is what's happening just beneath the surface for Jake. The 401k is incredibly popular because that tax break feels so great today. However, we have to remember there is a massive difference between a tax break and a tax elimination. Every single pre-tax dollar Jake put in and every single dollar of growth has a tax bill attached to it. He just hasn't opened the envelope yet. Fast forward to age 62. After 32 years of disciplined investing, both of our guys retire and start withdrawing $60,000 a year. This is the big turning point. Jake pulls out his $60,000, but the IRS treats it as ordinary income. After his standard deduction, his federal tax bill is roughly $5,100, which leaves him with $54,900 in actual take-home pay. Marcus pulls $60,000 from his Roth IRA. His federal tax bill? Zero. Absolutely nothing. His take-home pay is exactly $60,000. Every single dollar is his to keep. When we stretch that math out over a 25-year retirement, the numbers get pretty staggering. Between taxes on his standard withdrawals and some other factors we're going to cover in a moment, Jake could end up paying somewhere around $188,000 in federal taxes on money he originally thought was all his. Marcus pays close to zero. So that gap in their true after-tax wealth, it is dramatically smaller than what their monthly statements were showing them for all those years.
And you know, the government doesn't just sit around patiently waiting for Jake to decide to take his money out. Starting at age 73, Jake runs into a little something called required minimum distributions, or RMDs. Basically, the IRS forces Jake to withdraw a certain amount of money and pay taxes on it, regardless of whether he actually needs the cash to live on or not. If his account grew significantly over the years, that mandatory withdrawal could be nearly $100,000 in a single year, which could potentially push him into a higher tax bracket than when he was actually working. Marcus's Roth IRA? It can sit there completely untouched, compounding tax-free for as long as he lives. Then we have to talk about the Social Security trap. Because Jake's 401k withdrawals count as income, they can push his combined income high enough that up to 85% of his Social Security benefits suddenly become taxable. That means money he dutifully paid into the system his entire career is now getting taxed again, simply because of where he decided to park his retirement money. Marcus's Roth withdrawals, well, they don't even count toward that calculation, giving him so much more control over his taxes in retirement.
Part 4. The emergency curveball. What happens when you need to access your funds early?
So what happens if life throws a curveball long before retirement? Imagine both of these men are 50 years old, and they both desperately need $30,000 in cash for an unexpected medical emergency. Jake goes to his 401k. Because he is under 59 and a half years old, he pays a 10% early withdrawal penalty right off the top. Then, he owes income tax on the full amount at his 22% marginal rate. Out of his $30,000 withdrawal, he loses $9,600 to penalties and taxes. He walks away with just $20,400. He needed $30,000, and he got roughly 2/3 of it.
But then Marcus goes to his Roth IRA, and here's something a lot of people actually don't realize. You can withdraw your original Roth IRA contributions at any time, at any age, with zero taxes and zero penalties. Not the earnings, mind you, but the original contributions. So Marcus pulls out $30,000 of the money he put in. No penalty, no tax. He keeps all $30,000. In this way, the Roth IRA acts as an incredibly flexible, hidden emergency fund.
Now, look, if we just stopped right here, it would sound like the Roth IRA is the absolute only way to go. But let's be perfectly objective about this. The 401k has real, undeniable structural advantages that the Roth simply cannot touch. Foremost among them is that employer match we talked about earlier. Listen, if your employer offers a match and you don't take it, you are walking away from the single greatest return on investment in personal finance. That match, compounded over decades, is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Marcus had absolutely no version of this in his Roth.
The 401k also wins on sheer volume. If you're a high earner trying to shelter as much income as possible right now, the 401k lets you put away $24,500 a year. That is more than 3 times the Roth limit. It immediately reduces your current high tax bracket, which is highly profitable if you expect to be in a lower bracket in retirement. And let's not forget the automatic payroll discipline. The money comes out before you ever even see it, which is honestly priceless for building consistent saving habits. But of course, the Roth IRA has its own unique power features. It gives you total tax bracket control in retirement. It's one of the cleanest assets you can possibly pass to your heirs, as they will inherit it entirely tax-free. And perhaps most importantly, with the United States national debt climbing over $36 trillion, the odds that tax rates stay this low forever, well, they're not great. The Roth IRA is a powerful hedge against those future tax hikes.
Part 5. The Ultimate Investment Playbook. How to get the absolute best of both worlds.
The truth is, neither Jake nor Marcus had the full picture. Let's strip away the confusing this versus that debate and look at the actual order most certified financial planners recommend. Step 1. Contribute to your 401k up to the full employer match. You want to capture that free money with a guaranteed 100% return on day 1. Step 2. Max out a Roth IRA. You've got the free money, now lock in that tax-free growth where the government can never touch it again. And step 3, if you still have money left to invest, go back to your 401k and increase your contributions toward that high limit to shelter your remaining income. Free money first, tax-free growth second, high contribution ceilings third. It's that simple.
You know, the real trap isn't choosing a 401k or a Roth IRA. The real trap is picking one based on a catchy headline without ever sitting down and running the numbers for your own salary, your own tax bracket, and your own timeline. So I want to leave you with this final thought today. When you look at your accounts right now, did you include everything in your own retirement math? Because the answer that includes everything is really the only answer that matters. If this explainer helps bring a little clarity to your financial life today, please take a quick moment to like, share, and subscribe to Dollar Playbook. I'm Taylor Reed. Thank you so much for learning with me today, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.